Grandmaster, brethren, as you heard in the Grandmaster's message, in September of 2016, nearly 40 Masons gathered together to surmount the charge given us by the Grandmaster as the long-range planning task Tiger Team to review and, if necessary, redesign the long-range plan for the Grand Lodge of Washington. At this time, I'd like to ask the men that attended that event to stand. Brethren, please assist me in thanking these men for their willingness to be part of this initial process. These men from across our jurisdiction, in a ground-up approach, took time to gather together and discuss the future framework of what will become our long-range plan for the Grand Lodge. Out of this event, 6 guiding principles emerged, which we have labeled the 6 supports of 2020 vision. These guiding principles are membership experience, Masonic education, leadership and management beyond the lodge, philanthropy, and technology. While these principal supports were being discussed and after they were selected, we continued to discuss what each of these mean to us as individuals, as lodge members, and as a fraternity. Through this discussion, a summary narrative was developed for each, as follows. Number 1, membership experience. Engage and retain members and their families through an enhanced, sustaining, and relevant membership experience. Number 2, Masonic education. Educate members and communities about the fraternity's intriguing and enduring history, values, practical application of our principles, and relevance to society today. Number 3, leadership and management. Strengthen our leaders and cultivate new ones. Strengthen management and governance effectiveness at all levels. Number 4, beyond the lodge. Instill a wider Masonic perspective inside and outside the fraternity by deepening the connection between members, lodges, the worldwide body of Freemasonry, concordant organizations, and the public at large. Number 5, philanthropy. Focus our philanthropic efforts through Washington Masonic Charities. Number 6, technology. In all areas, leverage technology for communications, education, management, charities, and deepening the connections of members to our fraternity. Once these guiding principles and their respective narratives have been developed, we needed a statement that would tie them together. In reviewing the most recent version of the long-range plan for Grand Lodge, it was clear that the vision our own Worship Brother Gary O'Leary and his team had assembled was still 100% accurate, and so it was not changed. The 6 supports of 2020 for Grand Lodge of Washington vision is this. In 2020, Masonry in Washington is growing in membership and has the public perception as an honorable and positive influence on society. Masonic events are well attended and considered of great value by their members. Lodges are providing inspirational education programs that are both thought-provoking and highly anticipated. Individual lodges work together to expand their capabilities and share their unique talents. Masons have an expanded sense of camaraderie with other Masons in their lodge and across the state. The Grand Lodge of Washington is viewed by the Masonic community as a supportive organization. Its repository of educational materials and the best practices of its constituent lodges are the great value to the individual lodges. The Grand Lodge supports the efforts of the member lodges and is a source of consultative services to assist member lodges in being successful. The Grand Lodge officers are seen as prudent and effective leaders that guide the fraternity by precept and example. While a long-range plan must be clear and concise, we recognize this plan must allow for flexibility and creativity on how the outcomes are achieved, because frankly, brethren, because we elect a new Grand Master every year. Those of us that are analytical are now asking, but where is the measure? How do we know if we've achieved this goal? All we need to do is turn the narrative into a simple question and ask, do we engage and retain members and their families through an enhanced, sustaining, and relevant membership experience? Do we educate members and communities about the fraternity's intriguing and enduring history, values, practical application of our principles, and relevance to society today? Do we strengthen our leaders and cultivate new ones? Strengthen management and governance effectiveness at all levels? Do we install a wider Masonic perspective inside and outside the fraternity by deepening the connection between members, lodges, the worldwide fraternity of Masonry, concordant organizations, and the public at large? Do we focus our philanthropic efforts through Washington Masonic Charities? Do we leverage technology for communications, education, management, charities, and deepening the connections of our members to our fraternity? If we can answer yes to all of these questions, then just maybe we've achieved the goals of the long-range plan. The plan having been created, it was time to take it to the streets. Over the last 6 to 8 months, the message of this long-range plan, or vision, as we've been more recently calling it, was delivered individually, Mason to Mason, also in small groups, at lodge meetings, at district meetings, at the lodge leadership retreat to nearly 400 Masonic leaders, and through articles published in the Tribune. In all, hundreds and even thousands of Masons were provided an opportunity to hear and read about this new plan. Then, in a continued process of ground-up development, everyone was given the opportunity to provide their feedback through direct comments to the Mason they had been talking to on a paper survey or on an online survey. These comments and survey results provided a unique and direct input for individuals. Some responses were simple and confirmed that these 6 guiding principles and their narrative resonated for them. Other responses were very detailed and described the needs and frustrations of our fellow brethren. The enlightening item for me was that in most cases, the positive comments were focused around what Grand Lodge is doing to help, with several references to the Lodge Leadership Retreat. Sadly, many of the issues or problems that were identified by this survey were actually local or lodge-level concerns. However, these are a cry for help and not a complaint. And this, my brethren, is where your Grand Lodge teams can assist. All of the Grand Lodge stands ready to help every Mason and every lodge to be the difference. Our obligation, our charges, our ritual, and even our code sets a standard of expectations. That's primarily what this 6 Supports vision is based on, the idea of expectations. We need to raise our level of expectations within ourselves, our lodges, and within our Grand Lodge. When I first joined Masonry, I assumed that there would be some regular education program that I would be required to attend, maybe on a Saturday morning, or some other regularly designated day, as if I were in college or training for a new job. Because that did not happen, my expectations changed. Now, if you ask me, or most other brethren, if they'd like to get together on Saturday morning every week for Masonic education and training, they probably hold back a chuckle, because their expectations have changed over the years. If upon initiating a new Mason, we truly required him to attend a regular weekly or bi-weekly training session, and the other members of the lodge also attended these sessions to obtain further light, then after 5 or 10 years of that new standard, that would be the new expectation. And surely it would be said, that's the way we've always done it. Just as the 6 steps to initiation has become widely adopted, it was set as the expectation for the jurisdiction to follow. While some lodges follow it strictly, others have modified it for their specific need. Unfortunately, some are not following it, and others may not even know what it is. For those of us that have been utilizing this tool, it has become an invaluable resource. But the implementation has not occurred overnight, and if you haven't realized, it's been about 3 years since its adoption of this program, and it still isn't 100% accepted by every lodge. Brethren, it takes time to change. Let me ask you, when does our work as Freemasons end? When have we transformed into that perfect bachelor? Yesterday we saw the names of many men that have made that transformation. But for many of us, the answer is simply never. Our ritual says it best. We are reminded by the perfect bachelor of that state of perfection at which we hope to arrive by a virtuous education, our own endeavors, and the blessing of God. I petitioned King Solomon Lodge number 60 in Auburn in January of 2008. I received my entered apprentice degree in March, and 3 very short years later, I was elected as junior warden. That same year, I was asked to serve in the Public Relations Committee under Most Worshipful Mike Sanders. And in 2012, as senior warden for my lodge, I was asked to serve on the Planned Giving Committee under Most Worshipful Brother Dean Heineman. All wonderful experiences. In my 5th year as Mason, I was elected worshipful pastor, and at the annual communication in June of 2014, I became the first elected trustee of the newly formed Washington Masonic Charities. Immediately after exiting the East, I was asked to serve by Most Worshipful Sam Roberts and Most Worshipful Don Monks as the district deputy for District 13. Shameless plug. In September of 2015, I was double-teamed by our then Senior Grand Warden and Right Worshipful Brother Chauvin, who, through coordination with the then Deputy Grand Master, Right Worshipful Jim Mendoza, if I would consider leading a team of men as the long-range planning task force for essentially a minimum of a 2-year stint starting in June of 2016. Along the way, I've had several jobs, including treasurer for my lodge for the last 4 years, temple trustee for the last 8 years, temple rental manager for the last 2 years, lodge webmaster for 8 years, the first responder for membership inquiries using the 6 steps to initiation for 3 years, our lodge CHIPS chairman for 6 years. As junior warden in 2011, when our lodge voted to go dark in August for the first time in many years, I started our annual table lodge, which is now in its 6th year. I currently serve as the chairman of our MWB chapter, and finally this weekend I will finish serving that 3-year term as trustee for Washington Masonic Charities. I do not say these things to pat myself on the back. I say these things to give you an idea of where I'm coming from when I say, I'm tired. I'm tired of my brethren not caring about their buildings. I'm tired of my brethren not caring about the future of Masonry. I'm tired of my brethren not living up to their obligation to themselves, to the fraternity, and frankly, to me. One day, I was particularly tired and thought, what are we really doing this all for? Does what we do make a difference? A good man who has become a friend and brother was talking with me, and we were consoling each other about the woes of our extra efforts in our lodges and labors. He said something that made me rethink my attitude. He said, while he has had some trying times lately, he could easily have turned away and let things slide. However, he remembered why he joined this fraternity and decided he would lean in rather than lean out. Now, when I have those thoughts of frustration, those thoughts that I am tired, those thoughts of giving up, I say to myself, lean in, David, lean in. That's when the magic happens. When you lean in, you naturally catch yourself by taking a forward step of progress. What does this story have to do with Grand Lodge? the long-range plan, our Grand Master, our Deputy Grand Master, Senior Grand Warden, and Junior Grand Warden, and even those men in our lodges filling the stations and places need us all to lean in and remain in the quarries of our lodges, building ourselves up and each other along the way, supporting one another on the path to being a better man, to be the difference. While I've already explained the details of the long-range plan, what you didn't hear is this. What is the real long-range plan for the Grand Lodge of Washington? You. You are the long-range plan for this jurisdiction. The Master Masons, the elected officers, and past masters. You are the long-range plan for this jurisdiction. We must all be willing to stand and say, I will lean in. Because you are the long-range plan for this jurisdiction. Will you stand with me and proclaim, I will lean in? Will you stand with me and say, I will lean in? I will lean in. I will lean in.